Hey everyone, today I want to talk about one of the most advanced spiritual practices, a practice that is actually very difficult to even talk about because there's so much going on here, and that is the practice of letting go. And one of the reasons I think this is such an advanced, confusing even practice is that the key shift in letting go isn't something we do. Usually we let go in spite of our attempts to control our life, to control the world around us, the events happening across the globe. So it's actually something that we don't do. It's something that, better said, is done through us or maybe even in spite of us. And so as a practice, it's pretty paradoxical. It's not like doing push-ups to get stronger, or doing pull-ups to get stronger, or meditating to be more focused. Letting go happens through us. So the question becomes then, well, how can we plant the seeds in our life such that this experience of letting go emerges more organically, more frequently? That's the game we're playing here. And I think it can be helpful to identify 4 steps or 4 stages in the process of letting go as a way of sort of opening up more space in our life for this experience to emerge. Stage 1 is control. And I know this sounds kind of weird, but I think it's actually our attempts to control our life in the world that put the process of letting go in motion. We all have our own favorite control strategies, but if you look on the internet or you go on Instagram, you'll see that we're just like, the world now is full of ways to control our life, to live to 180 years old, taking all the right supplements, doing the right meditations, doing the right practices. There's this kind of illusion we live under in stage 1 that if we just do everything perfectly, we're going to feel awesome all of the time. That brings us to stage 2, losing control. As you may have noticed, as I've noticed certainly, you try to do everything right. You eat the perfect diet. You meditate. You do yoga. You exercise. You do all the things, and yet you still some days wake up feeling anxious and like shit. And that's because we don't have control over the thoughts running through our mind, the emotions running through our body and mind, the wars happening on the other side of the world, the comments that our partner gives us in the morning. Most of life, we find out, really isn't under our control. That brings us to stage 3. Nobody enjoys losing control. I certainly don't enjoy losing control. It's a very painful illusion when it goes away. And so this 3rd stage is all about resistance. We sort of go back to those stage 1 attempts to control our life, to control our mind, to control our partner, our kids, our friends, our family members, maybe even global events or our least favorite political candidate. But the problem with this stage of resistance is that we end up back at the beginning trying to achieve control in a world where there's so little that we actually do control. So how do we get out of this cycle? Well, that's the 4th stage. That's the stage of letting go, where we reach a point where we realize that there's kind of this cosmic joke happening, this illusion that we can control everything. And instead of going back to stage 1 and trying to do everything we can to control the world, to control our life, we do this radical move of saying, maybe I can just relax a little bit, trust a little bit, and let go. I like to think of this through the analogy of floating down a river on an inner tube. When we're in stage 1 trying to control everything, it's like we're floating down this river and we're constantly trying to control where we're going and trying to control where the river's going, and we're thrashing and we're just exhausted. It's like so much work. But when we realize that we actually don't control where this river is taking us, that brings us to that stage 4 experience of letting go, that experience of just kind of enjoying the ride and realizing we're going to end up wherever we end up. Might as well enjoy the show. So that's the basic 4-stage process that I think we all go through all the time. And the key is really making that final leap into letting go. And there are a lot of practices we can use to help create the preconditions for letting go. Things like meditation, maybe psychedelic assisted therapy, yoga, even just spiritual practice is a way of setting up these preconditions for letting go. But that's the paradox here. We're not the ones actually doing it. In a way, letting go is happening through us. So we do these practices, we try to let go, and if it happens, it happens. But the more we practice, the more aware we are of our attempts to control everything in our life and the world, the more we're going to start to see this experience of letting go show up in our lives. If you want to read more about this, I talk a lot about it in my book, Open, Living with an Expansive Mind in a Distracted World. See you soon.